Sisters, it's really good to see you today. And Ron, it's really good to see you too, brother.
Thanks, Rod.
Yeah, it's nice to visit with you, because we always visit a little bit before each one of our shows, and we have a good time. We really do. I love Ron. He's so much fun. He's
We
he's a wealth of information, man. Problem is, he reads all this stuff, then he forgets it.
and the same with today. We're going to kind of go through this, and we're going to try to connect some dots so it makes sense. But
Yeah.
we're not promising anything.
And that's the truth.
But we better put a disclaimer out at the start of this thing that
We didn't do it.
yeah, that's right, folks.
It's
This is
like
just
it's like Clinton. We learned from Clinton. I didn't have any sex with that woman.
yeah. Depends how you define is. Yeah, I know. What a mess. But folks, we're not claiming that this stuff is. I mean, we're just trying to connect some dots here. At this point, Rod and I still believe in crypto going up. We're hoping it stays decentralized. But after looking at some of these things, this might be one of the most important videos we've done to date, and we've done over 300 videos for this channel. But this one really is one of the top. And folks, we would ask you, and we've never asked, I don't think we have, Rod, but if you could share this point of view in some of these articles with one or two crypto friends, I mean, let's share this one. I think there's some material in here that's kind of interesting, and some of it we've talked about before in videos. But we're going to try to bring this to a consensus and to a thing that makes sense, hopefully. But, we're not the best at that either. At least I'm not.
Yeah. I just know
Anyway.
how I feel.
Yeah.
If I feel good about it, then I know it's good. If I don't, and most of the time I'm right on that. Just how I feel about
Yeah.
certain things.
Well, even you and I, Rod, we ought to share this video with a couple people. And maybe will you try to remember to remind us again at the end of the video, so those that forget between now and then, and it
Yeah.
just be good. But folks, let's do not a quick history lesson, but when we all got into Bitcoin and learned about blockchain and all that, our hopes were really up there about being a decentralized system to give us some freedom in our financial world. To have a true and free market, not one that's manipulated like so many of the financial markets are. I mean, we all looked at those days, and
Yep.
and God, and Rod and I have reported on several things that just kind of allude that things are changing, that it's not so unmanipulated anymore. I mean, I think, like Rod talked about, he calls them the whales, the whalers that come in. And right now, Rod, I read 2 or 3 articles where there's the SEC is investigating people that are manipulating the market that can actually change the price based on how much crypto they bring in. And it's not that they have all this crypto on hand. They're using some of these tools that are out there now, like like the CME, to short it or to make it go long and drive the price certain ways. So the SEC actually has some investigations out there to see about these price manipulations that might be going on. Yeah. It's a controlled market where people are trying to make big money and so on.
Ron, the government gets involved in this crap that goes on because of the greed of a few, and it affects the many. And it's absolutely a crime and a shame that we have this. And then some of them have so much money, they're in bed with the government, and they can do anything they damn well please. And it's heartbreaking.
It's sickening. It is. I agree, Rod. I'm glad you pointed that out. And as the governments and bankers keep progressing into this industry, the thing they have on their side, Rod, first of all, there's no way these bankers are going to let a total decentralized system with privacy coins exist without their hands in it somewhere.
Yeah.
I just don't believe it will. I think they have too much power and too much at stake to lose to let this continue to blossom without them getting totally involved somehow. And the thing they have on their side, Rod, is they have the law.
Yep.
They can change the law and declare something illegal and declare something legal, and it would benefit the few, just like you said, over the many. We can look back to when gold was confiscated and outlawed to have. Who was the president, Rod? Truman?
Who was that?
Anyway,
Can't remember.
and interesting enough, they set a price on the gold, made it illegal to have, and everybody had to turn their gold in. Of course, once it was all in, they revalued it. Price went up to a certain amount, and we as sheep, I know a lot of people kept it, but most people allow these dictators within government who are in bed with the bankers, like Rod said, to dictate to us what is law and not law, right or wrong, and it's just a mess. So they do have that on their side. Who?
You'll never guess. It was FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And
I remember that now, but I wouldn't have thought of it.
Yeah, I remember it after I saw it, and he did a lot of stuff that was totally illegal. At the time, we thought it was great because of the Depression. Anyway, I don't want to get into that.
No, I know. We could talk even about what's going on today, but it's just anyway. So folks, and a lot of these governments are coming up with their own cryptocurrencies. Look at what Venezuela did. We put sanctions on Venezuela, so boom, they come up with a crypto coin to offset those sanctions. They reduce their oil price by 30% if you pay in crypto. I mean, what country's not going to take advantage of that, if you think about it?
Yeah, really.
And then I just saw here, and we got this big deal with Iran going on now. Look at this, or just the headline, folks. We're not going to focus too much on these. But this headline here, Iran creates own cryptocurrency amid fears Trump will issue crippling economic sanctions. Same thing. They're going to sidestep our sanctions, continue to do business. And this is a whole debatable thing anyway. It's like, who are we to... Anyway, I'm just pointing out that everybody is getting into crypto, it seems. You got Amazon. What a giant Amazon is, or Facebook. Both of them are creating cryptocurrency coins. It just makes you kind of step back and say, God, what's all this about? Now, we know that everything's headed to become tokenized. They're producing cars now with wallets in it. The shipping industry is tokenizing all the containers that come back and forth across the ocean. And there's some benefit to that. There's huge benefits to the blockchain, and so on.
Well, it does make everything that happens, every transaction, what is it? Totally open. You can see transparent, which makes it still pretty good.
Yeah, there's benefits to that. A couple videos ago, we discussed this here too, Rod, and this is one of the points or the dots that we're going to try to connect into this and talk about tokenization. We talked about how China has a social credit score. Now, folks, we got some real interesting things on this video, so stay with us to the end on this. We're not just rehashing all this. We're trying to bring it all together to maybe see where this whole thing has the possibility of going. So as we get tokenizing everything, in China, by 2020, is going to have a social credit score on every citizen they claim in the next couple years, Rod. and they have
And they have the biggest population in the world.
and they aim
Them in
to do
India.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they claim they have right now 1,700,000 cameras recording people with face recognition and pinpointing their daily activities. As they go on the streets, there's a camera that picks up their face, and we talked about the other day, so I'm not going to belabor this too long. And then if you get caught jaywalking, it goes against your score. If you get caught anything, I guess, that doesn't fit what society thinks a model citizen should be, goes against. And then pretty soon they start taking away rights. They're going to penalize you. Maybe you can't ride the mass transit. Maybe you can't have a bank account. Maybe
Don't they call it privileges?
Yeah. Yes.
It's a privilege. So it's a privilege to live in China. So in order to be a privileged person, you get everything given to you. And then if you go against them in any way, you throw a cigarette down on the street, you pee in the street or whatever it is, then they're going to take that away from you, and then you ain't going to be able to go on a mass transit thing. I mean, it's amazing.
It is. And you hit it on the head. It becomes a point where government is more important than the citizens, and they are in control. And folks, I think the whole world is kind of headed this way a little bit. So let's continue down this path. We got governments. Well, here's an article here out of, I don't know what. But it says here that Norway and England contemplate central bank issued cryptocurrencies issued by the central banks in Norway and England. And actually there's more. I think there's an Indian country, Rod, that I see. Anyway.
It probably is.
But
because they're real big into it.
Yeah, but here you have central banks, and when they say that they're contemplating, come on, we already know that means they've already done their homework. They're getting into this stuff, man. They are doing it. The contemplation.
Set up.
That's right. It's over. Look at the lion snake that Goldman Sachs a week or so ago. It says that they were. They made the comment that no, we're not looking at doing anything into the crypto world, but come to find out, they started a year ago putting all these pieces of the puzzle in place, so they're ready to roll, but they're still denying it until they got caught with that deny. So when they say they're contemplating it, they're going for it. So here you got central banks that are going to get into the crypto world, and from there, well, let's just keep moving on. Here's the IMF, and we talked about this too. International Monetary Fund, likely to issue an IMF coin, a global accepted cryptocurrency. Now the IMF, they have that basket of currencies called what? The SDR or something?
Yeah, something like that.
And they can interchange it cross-border. Well, of course, we know, and they had... Christine Legrand, yeah, she's the head of that, Rod. She's encouraging banks and financial institutions to study blockchain technology. She also commented that the digital money could gain popularity as users prefer blockchain-based payment systems. The recent trend among the countries to launch their own cryptocurrencies mounting across the globe. For instance, Dubai government is planning to launch its own crypto, EM Cash. Additionally, a large number of banks that support blockchain. Anyway, there's a whole group of them she's talking about. IMF
this thing is going global, Ron.
No, it is. And that's the whole point of this video. And we are on the decentralized side, but now we're trying to show you that there's a centralized side too that has all these tools on their side. They can create laws that will affect the other side of the fence, our side. They can overnight, just like FDR says, we're outlawing gold. Well, who say they can't outlaw Bitcoin? And all of a sudden, now what's going to be in place of Bitcoin is the IMF crypto coin. I mean, or the Fed coin. We're getting into that a little bit here, but there's still some interesting things towards the end of this.
Look at Goldman Sachs. They just launched a new crypto also.
Yeah, you're ahead of us, Rod. You're an article ahead of us. So stay on point here.
Okay, sorry. Hey, stay on point. Hot dang, what's the matter with me? I want to hurry up.
I know. And I told myself we just got to cover some of this stuff. Here's some more out of that article. IMF would fix and regulate its value to control the flow of money between different countries. So see, they want to just like they're doing with the SDR and the United States does with the fiat, the US dollar. They want to try to keep that value where it's consistent. They want to control it. That's the same thing that IMF is doing. Christine Legrand believes IMF coin has potential to replace the dollar owing to its growing adoption of a global nature. Our economy is turning global. I mean, look at the boats on the water all the time and cross-border payments, and it is. Blockchain has simplified it, made it more convenient, more easier to use. And now the feds, all the different countries are getting their feet wet, even the IMF. And she was downplaying Bitcoin and crypto forever. And now all of a sudden she's in it tooth and nail, man.
Yeah.
IMF coin can also be used by the people from remote areas. Okay, so now they're saying, hey, we're going to tap into these cell phones. We've talked about that before. That all these unbanked citizens worldwide, believe it or not, though, 70% of them have cell phones, even though there ain't a bank within miles.
Yeah.
So crypto all of a sudden will bring all these people financially into the system. All these unbanked individuals with phones will now have a way to financially spend money through crypto. Now, there's a good side to that, but there's also the centralized side that's working on it also. The financial market will undergo complete transformation favored by cryptocurrencies. A day is not far when users will prefer virtual currency over money due to its convenience, cost effectiveness, and highly secured nature.
Yeah.
And now we'll get into the one that Rod talked about. Goldman Sachs just launched a new crypto. And you know, if Goldman Sachs is doing it, they're in bed with our government, the United States. They're in bed with the IMF. I mean, these people are in together. So they might sound like they're doing their own thing, but sooner or later, who knows? Who's not saying that they can't be joined together to accomplish the same end result, which is control over the monetary system and control again over the people. This is kind of an interesting article here, Rod. You've been reading it at all?
Who's Circle?
Circle is created by Goldman Sachs. They bought Poloniex, that exchange, and they said they were bringing all these assets into Poloniex or Circle. So there'll be a token on gold, a token on silver, a token on all the cryptos. So all of this stuff will be tokenized. And Goldman Sachs has created this. There's some interesting things in this article.
Well, it says here, Circle doesn't want its doesn't want its U.S. dollar coin to be subject to the instability and inflation inherent with other unregulated currencies. You see, they tell you right there, they want it regulated.
Sure. And they're going to tie it.
Unregulated currency. So it will be the value of the coin as as to the U.S. dollar.
They're going to tie
Instead,
it to the value of the dollar. So if the dollar is worth
4
96
cents.
4 cents, thank you. We knew that's accurate. Then they want to stabilize it. They think more people will be happy to have the stabilization instead of the volatility that we see in crypto. Not saying that, wait a minute, crypto is a true free market. If people come into it, the price goes up. If people come out of it, the price But no, they want to stabilize it. And again, Rod, you hit it right on the head. It's through control that they do that.
Well, prime example is gold and silver. Look at that. Hell, silver should be 10 grand an ounce.
Right. And they manipulate that.
Yeah. Silver should be 17% lower than silver, and it ain't. It's way down below gold.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, don't get me started on that.
They go on and talk about U.S. dollar-based cryptocurrency must remain under distributed control, while other cryptocurrencies can be mined. No, that's not what I wanted. So what it is if you want a U.S. dollar, what would they call it, Rod? The one Goldman Sachs is creating, whatever it's called. If you want one of those, you got to put a U.S. dollar into it. So basically, it's like, well, what's the benefit? Why, if it's a dollar for dollar, no speculation, it's going to remain constant and true. Well, it's not that they think that's going to, what it's going to do, I believe, Rod, it's just in preparatory for what's coming in the future. There's no benefit to have it right now if it's the exact same value of a dollar bill, a fiat dollar, this coin. The only thing is it's digitalized, which again, what does that do? That takes us to a cashless type society, maybe. You got to look at least I try to look at the alternative motives of why they're trying to do this. If there's no benefit to have the dang Goldman Sachs coin, because I either have a dollar bill in my billfold or a crypto dollar on my phone, and it's the same value exactly, it's in preparatory for something else. At least I believe that.
Yeah, you just don't trust them, that's all. I can't believe you don't trust the government.
I know, it's just been the last week or two that I've developed that opinion, but like it started like in 1975 or 6.
Yeah, I know.
Now here's a couple quick short ones, folks. We're kind of, anyway. New executive order, the FedCoin Act. Is President Trump on the verge of issuing the most controversial executive order since Roosevelt's ban on gold?
Yeah.
Talking about doing this with an executive order?
Hell.
You see, according to Casey, that Doug Casey's a currency expert, multimillionaire who predicted Trump's surprise victory. Okay, who cares? You see, according to Casey, Washington could soon implement the most transformative currency law ever.
Yep.
This new law would not only give the government an unprecedented ability to track and control our money, but it could also destroy the U.S. dollar in the process. So why would the government do this, he asks? Well, ushering us towards a cashless society. And let's just talk about that for a minute, and then we just got a couple more links, I think, folks. Well, matter of fact, here's one that ties into this. U.S. government awards $7 billion to develop this Fed coin. And they also acted for private contributions, and guess who's contributing to it? The bankers and all them yahoos.
Yeah.
So now we've talked in the past too, Rod, about the cons of going to a cashless society. If I don't have money in my pocket and everything is digital, they control my you-know-what.
Yep.
They do. If I jaywalk, like in China, correlate that to this social rating. You know, if I get caught jaywalking,
they could just dock your crypto coins without you even knowing it. You go through the speed limit, and they say, "Okay, we're going to take $100 out of your crypto because that's the fine."
That's right. They can raise taxes at any time and take that. You're automatically taxed out of your account. God, there's all kinds of things if you think about it.
No need to do tax returns?
No, it'd all be automatic. Sure. But, and not only that, Rod, for a penalty, they can just cut you off from spending.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Rod's account is froze until he makes good on this. If he didn't have the money to pay that ticket, lock him out till he pays it. No more grocery shopping, no more gas, nothing. I mean, we lose our freedoms, folks, and this ain't just in the U.S. You can look at Sweden, you can look at Europe. These countries are all looking into this stuff. Do some research on it.
Yeah, the FBI already knows how to seize digital currencies. IRS knows how to tax it.
Yeah, read those 3 or 4 bullet points.
Yeah. That's amazing. The Marshal Service knows how to sell it. Man, so they can seize it, sell it, and tax it. Yeah. That is something else.
They are heavily getting this. And then we came across this Sega coin, and they're on the coin market cap. I think they're about 22 cents right now. And it looks innocent enough. If you read through this, folks, they're trying to do a Sega coin will be used widely in every city in the world, even for the unbanked and all that. What is Sega Coin? Why Sega Coin? It's going to be global, proof of stake. Anyway, just by looking at the website, not too bad. And they didn't do an ICO, Rod. They didn't do an ICO.
Oh, they didn't?
No, who funded this thing? And I found an article. Here's all the wallets, the roadmap. I mean, it looks like it's a decent looking and reading project. But go. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Did I not find that article I wanted to show you, Rod? Remember, I thought I was going to show you something. I said, hey, wait do you see the end of this? If it is, folks, we're going to have to backtrack just a second. Maybe it's still coming, Rod.
Yeah, I think it's still coming.
No, it ain't.
No?
Oh, it's on the next video. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, check this out. Now we're talking about Sega Coin, a non-anonymous stable coin. Sega launches with Big Shot Advisor Team.
Wow.
The Swiss nonprofit Sega Foundation announced on Thursday that it will be developing a new non-anonymous stablecoin with the help of some big wig advisors. Namely, the advisory council includes J.P. Morgan Chase, International Chairman, Noble Economic Sciences, Financial Future Pioneer, and CME Chairman, and the co-director of Initiative for Cryptocurrencies and Smart Contracts, Cornell University professor. Oh, my land. Look this guy up. Dubbed Sega or SGA, the coin will be backed by a variable fractional reserve. Fractional reserve, that's the same as our U.S. dollar. That's how these banks loan it out. For every dollar they have in savings, they can loan out $32. It's fractional reserve banking. So this Sega coin, as innocent as it looks, is all led by these big bankers and people that are in bed with governments and everything else. So why? Why do they need to get this on the map? And if you look at all these things we just talked about, there's definitely on the one side of the fence, the centralized side, they are getting prepped or in preparatory with their infrastructure to control this thing. Yep. Now, true, there'll be a decentralized side, But until when? Until they outlaw it? Until they have some kind of false flag disaster that makes decentralized crypto so available to the terrorists and anti-tax people and criminals that we need to adjust and move into a centralized system for what? What do they always say? For the safety of the people, for the best of the people. And you got the IMF involved. You've got governments already playing with it to see if it works. You've got these bankers that are coming up with platforms that are totally centralized. And folks, we're not saying it's all headed that way. We're just trying to look at all this and say, what is really going on here? Do you think these bankers want to have a decentralized free system?
No.
With privacy coins? No. Hell no. That's the first thing they're going to outlaw is all these privacy platforms. They can't control us when everything's private.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nope.
And then we got in Utah. I meant to mention this earlier, but here in Utah, folks, because Rod and I were talking earlier about all this stuff, and NSA, how many years ago, Rod? It hasn't been that long. 3 or 4 years ago?
Oh, 5? It's been a little longer than that.
Has it?
Yeah.
They built in the Salt Lake Valley a huge, matter of fact, this thing was so private, they covered it up with tarps as they were building it because they didn't want any satellites coming over, filming down in these buildings as they were constructing them. Did you know that, Rod?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. This NSA outfit, and matter of fact, folks, those computers in those buildings use so much water. There's a huge dispute here in the state of Utah that we didn't want to give 50% of the Salt Lake Valley's water, and we live in a desert anyway, to the government to cool these computers. But guess who won? That's right, baby.
Oh, yeah. It's because of national security.
That's right. National security. And all they do in there is they record phone, not all, there's probably a lot more. One thing they do is record phone conversations, text messages, and they store all that. It's all storage. So all of a sudden, Rod Pranter gets a red light on his name. And maybe I should go in there and cut your last name out, Rod. Sorry.
Yeah, I see what you did.
Yeah, I will. So Rod gets a red flag up. They can spin their computers open and all of a sudden go back and see all of Rod's cell phone conversations, his text messages. I mean, there is no privacy for citizens at all in this country. And sorry to say, these same things are going on in other countries, man. It's an absolute nightmare. So, folks, we just kind of wanted to, and again, if you'll, I just remembered if you'll share this a little bit, folks.
Make people aware. That's
right. Where it's all headed, we don't know. We're just looking at both sides of this. You know, some of these YouTubers are so pro mass adoption and everything they do is all positive and all this, and it's going to bring it out to the masses. The government never does anything to benefit its citizens. They don't. They are their own agenda, their own self-perpetual identity, and the things they do benefit government and those that are involved in it. They're not benefiting us. Anyway,
it's not really the government, it's the whalers. It's all about whales.
Well, it is, and they're probably above the governments, maybe.
Oh, so they are.
It's not just somebody with $10
million.
No, it's
tell them what to do, like this Trump deal with them making that thing. Oh no, man! I tell you, everybody's corrupt. They all get in bed.
They do. So, folks, here's the last suggestion to help offset this. Let's say this heads down this road, and sooner or later things start becoming where they're going to centralize all of it. The best thing you can do is have some of your money in the metals, I think. Other things besides just crypto. You need to have other assets, whether it be food, water, metals. So if crypto takes a left turn, you're not totally wiped out or at the mercy of those that are in control.
Yeah.
Do your own homework. We'll put these articles in the box so you can read them if you want. There's some interesting things. They're probably more than what we covered. But we're a little cautious. We're gonna keep looking down this avenue, along with what's going on the positive side too. Go ahead, Rod.
Well, I was just going to say that's just the way it is. Are we finished?
Yes, I am. It's the way it is, but we can do something about it.
Yes, we can. We can. Number one, we can pray that God will step in and get rid of all these people. But we know that won't happen. So we have to do it ourselves. He makes us do things ourselves. And like Ron said, we can spread the word, spread this around to people. Let them think about it. We can stew over it, and then maybe there is a solution. Ron and I just can't do it, by ourselves. But
you know what that benefits, Rod? I'm sorry to interject on you there.
Right.
Say.
Hell, I don't remember.
About sharing it, and we can't do it ourselves. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, we just don't have the brains to do it. Ron and I don't, but somebody does out there, and we can make there's probably a coin going to come up that will help us all. Maybe it is Bitcoin. Everybody's trying to control it, but as long as we buy and we got our free market and we can get in there and do what we do with it, maybe they won't be able to do anything. Who knows? Like Ron said, we just got to keep abreast of this stuff.
That's my point right there. My point was, at least you're aware that there could be another side of the coin.
Yes.
And by having this information and knowledge, if something does make the left turn, you'll be aware of it and can make and adapt and make the change as it goes.
Right. That's all we need to do. And trust in God. Give us a thumbs up, and God bless.